Good morning, dear students. I am teaching chapter 13. Name of the chapter 13 is the sound. Sound. Activity 13.5. Activity 13.5. To prove that pitch of sound increases with the decrease in length of vibrating air column. Vibrating air column. In this activity is to prove that pitch of sound increases with the decrease in length of vibrating air column. Materials required. What are the materials for the test? Required test tube and beaker filled with water. Method. First, in the test tube, pour 2 ml of water and blow air in the test tube by putting your lip on the mouth, and you will hear a low-pitched sound. And now go on increasing water. In the test tube as shown in the figure 13.13 BCT. You will notice that as the length of air column in the test tube decreases, the sound becomes more and more shrill. In this, sound becomes more and more shrill. It is because the pitch of the vibrating air column increases with the decrease in the length of air column. Activity 13.6. To prove that pitch of sound increases with the increase in frequency. Materials required: bicycle, plastic ruler. Method: put the bicycle on a stand, take a plastic ruler from your geometry box and gently hold it against the spokes of the rear wheel. Now set the rear wheel in motion by gently turning the pedal crank with your hand. As the plastic ruler hits against the spokes of rear wheel, or a sound of low pitch is heard, and now increases the speed of rear wheel by turning the pedal crank more fast. You will notice that the speed of the wheel increases, the pitch of the sound becomes higher, that it becomes shriller. 13.7. To prove that the pitch of sound depends upon the thickness of a vibrating string. Take a rectangular plastic box without lid of the kind you use to carry your tiffin. And take 3 rubber bands of different thickness and mount them on the box as shown in figure 13.15. In activity 13.7 you can in diagram you can see this is the diagram. And now plug each rubber band one by one and observe the pitch produced by them. You will notice that the thinnest rubber band produces a sound of high pitch and the thickest rubber band produces a sound of low pitch. And it is for the same reason that stringed musical instruments are provided with a string of different thickness so as to produce notes of different pitches. Now activity 13.8. To prove that pitch of sound depends upon the length of a vibrating string. Take a rectangular plastic box with lid of the kind you use to carry your tiffin and mount a thin rubber band on is shown in figure 13.13 and place a pencil or the scale from your geometry box under it and such that it divides the string into two unequal parts. Plug the rubber band from the longer side and then from smaller side and you will observe that sound of low pitch is produced towards longer side and high pitch towards the smaller side. And it is for the same reason that musician plug the same string at different point so as to produce sound of different frequency or pitch. Key ideas. The pitch of the sound depends upon the frequency of a vibrating body. Pitch of the sound depends upon the frequency of a vibrating body. And higher frequency produces shrill sound and lower frequency produces bass or flat sound. A smaller length of vibrating air columns produce high pitch sound and vice versa. And pitch of sound increases with the decrease in thickness or the length of vibrating wires. Now differences between loudness and pitch. Loudness depend upon the extent of amplitude of the vibrating body and pitch is effect produced in the brain by the sound of some particular frequency. And second one, loudness of the sound is determined by the amount of energy received by the ear. How much amount of energy is received by the ear in unit time, that is the more the energy received, the louder is the sound. And pitch does not depend upon the amount of energy received by the ear. And loudness does not change with the change in frequency. Loudness does not, if in the frequency changes are there, then loudness will not change. Pitch changes with the change in frequency. If frequency changes, then pitch is also it will change. And as a rule, a lower frequency will produce a bass sound, whereas a higher frequency will produce a shrill sound. Noise and music. Next one is the noise and music. Noise and music. Noise and music. We hear different types of sound from different sources. We hear different types of sounds from different sources. And some of these sounds are pleasant to the ear. Some sounds are very good to hear, but some sounds are very loudness, so it is not good to hear. For example, the sound produced by the various machines, the sound of too many persons talking simultaneously, the bark of a dog, the sound of a supersonic aircraft, etc. are not pleasant to the ears. It is not good for the ear, means not good to the ear and not pleasant to the ear. A sound which does not have a pleasing sensation on the ears is called the noise. What is the noise? A sound which does not have a pleasing sensation on the ears is called the noise. And what is the scientifically, a noise is produced by irregular vibration. Noise is produced by the irregular vibrations. And a sound which has a pleasant sensation on the ears is called the music. What is the music? A sound which has a pleasant sensation, means very good to hear, that is called the music. And scientifically, a musical sound is produced by regular vibrations. Musical sound is produced by the regular vibrations. For example, the prong of a tuning fork or the string of a sitar vibrates at regular intervals, and hence they produce musical sounds. Differences between musical sound and noise. It has a pleasing effect on the ears, and it does not have a noise, it does not have a pleasing effect. In musical sound, it is produced by regular periodic vibrations in a material, and noise, it is produced by irregular vibrations in a material. Musical sound, the amplitude of vibration and its frequency do not change suddenly, and the amplitude of vibrations and its frequency change suddenly. And I will draw the diagram of musical sound. This is the musical sound. And this is the noise. This is the noise. You can see in the diagram, this is the musical sound, this is the noise. Sound produced by human beings. Voice box or the larynx is the most important source of sound in human beings. Larynx is the voice box, or the larynx is the most important source of sound in the human beings. Two ligaments commonly known as vocal cords. Vocal cords are stretched across the larynx in such a way that it leaves a narrow slit between them for a passage of air. When the air from the lungs is forced through the slit, it makes the vocal cords to vibrate and hence produced sound. And the pitch of sound produced is changed by the muscles attached to the vocal cords. When the vocal cords are tight and thin, they produce sound of high frequency. When the vocal cords are tight and thin, then they produce the high frequency and shrill sound. However, when the vocal cords are loose and thick, they produce a sound of low frequency, that is a bass sound. So till here you will take revision.